All right, welcome back to SRS Chess, or if you've never been here before, then welcome. I'm going to talk about how I am invisible online today. It's a great subject. Leelapieceodds is a really hard bot. It says its rating is 2000, but I'm playing Leelapieceodds every day until I beat it. This is like day 3 and day 4. So um, while I play this English opening and try to find a tactic with that knight, um, let's talk about what it means to be invisible online. So, now, being invisible online does not mean that if someone looks for your content, they they simply won't be able to ever find anything that you made. That's not being invisible online. Um, that is like a significant problem with like your connection, because everybody's everybody's content should be findable online. If I were to tell somebody that I had made hundreds of videos in the last couple years, um, and I have told people that, they might respond with, "What are you talking about?" Which is exactly how they've responded. So I don't think that most people can imagine what it's like to have nothing that you make shown to anyone. So, I went to college for writing, and now, because of something that has absolutely nothing to do with writing, no one is allowed to read anything I write. And okay, they're allowed to, but new people do not receive any kind of suggestion at any point, anywhere, to follow me. So you might ask why that is. And I started a Substack in an attempt to not only provide irrefutable proof of what I was saying, which is what I've been saying right now, and to document my search for an explanation, because surely the explanation can't be as absurd and ridiculous as, take for instance, AI has reviewed my internet activity, and they think that I'm older than the age of 30. Therefore, people probably don't want to read anything I have to say. Or a bunch of people in a gaming community didn't like one thing that I was saying about them, and they decided that they would just report me until all of my content was invisible, and I guess that succeeded. Now, I'm not saying that's the only reason, but yeah, no, I'm saying, yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's the only reason. So he can't take my rook there, because I would checkmate him. So at this point in the game, right here, I panic. I just panicked here. Because I saw that he was gonna have. Yeah, it doesn't matter why. I panicked. I just panicked. That's it. Forget about it, Jake. It's Chinatown. So unfortunately, I did panic. But I'm gonna play against. I'm gonna play from that position against Stockfish. And if you copy the fen in the video description, you can play along with me. If you don't, no one will probably. And what is the reason for that? That's a question on today's quiz, because you're supposed to know by now that the reason is that none of my content is available to people, because I have been made invisible online. So, as someone who wasn't invisible online for a very long time, I certainly admit that this has been a very challenging experience for me. the process of I guess what people kind of expect me to do is like come to terms with the idea that I will never be allowed to contribute anything online ever again. I think that is an unreasonable expectation. It would be like saying to somebody, "Oh, well, you're not allowed to be friends with people anymore." Like, I don't understand what's the problem with that. Like, you can still be friends with animals. Nobody said you can't have a pet. Like, what's the problem? What could possibly be the problem? So, I'm not saying that people are saying that. My dad is saying that, but he's not a person. He's become like maybe half of a person. So, anyways, all of this is actually far more entertaining than I might be making it out to be. The stories that I have, the stories that I have collected as a result of my lived experience in the last, I would say it's been since 2022. This has been happening, really since I started trying to play chess. And, I thought during that whole time that there were people who were giving me a hard time online because they just didn't because they were just incredibly uncool people. But it's turned out that that's not really the problem. The problem isn't the incredibly uncool people who I was correct about that. There are incredibly uncool people who don't like me. And they don't understand what satire is, which is why for a while, I believed that they really were very young. But to make everything about the story is just tragic. So of course, it turns out no, they're not. They're not even young. They're just I mean I don't know exactly what's wrong with them, but I'm not a doctor, so. I don't know what else to say other than you can read my Substack for a lot, like a lot of rumination on the reasons why this happened. And most recently, the subject that I have been talking about is my experience with chess and my belief that perhaps what is the cause of my problems is actually the chess.com Proctor anti cheat detection tool. Like the best guess that I had before was that what was the best guess I had before? I think it was that I was just reported, like falsely reported on every platform, which I think is true. But I don't really understand. I guess I have a hard time understanding why a person would do that. Um, I mean, I guess there's no rhyme or reason. But yeah, if you check out my Substack, I've spent an incredible amount of time writing what is now my first novel. It's done more or less. So I'm finishing the last story. It's called Dark Mode, and it's about a person who winds up in a situation exactly like mine. They have been made invisible from the world, and it looks at it's two stories, one from the perspective of each of a pair of neighbors who are on opposite sides of what has been happening. So it is literally my story. And check out Substack or continue watching my content for updates. Please like, share, and subscribe my content. If you don't, I guarantee nobody else will.